Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Life Biscuits, snack size wisdom, life size impact. We're looking at a personal growth adventure, trying to fulfill our potential one day at a time. Welcome, Lauy. Oh yeah, g'day Glenbo, how's it going? No, I'm Josh, and Lau's not here. I think he's out camping, to be honest. Haven't really had contact with the big fella, so I reckon he's out bush with some kids. And here we are, Glenbo, flying solo, first time by himself on the podcast. So what I'm going to do for you today, folks, is just give you a bit of a rundown on Life Biscuits, if this is your first time, and then we'll go through some of the content. And by we, I mean me, all right? And yeah, I'm acting a bit awkward just because it's me by myself, and then we'll go from there. So straight up, what Life Biscuits is about, we've been going for a couple of years now, and we, as I mentioned at the start, we are very big on trying to be intentional about getting a little bit better each day in our lives. And so we started a little mastermind together, me and Christopher Lauy, and got together and just talked about this stuff that we really love, about trying to get better ourselves. And then after a while, probably a couple of years, we started saying, hey man, there's like some really consistent themes coming up here. And we put all of that together into the 13 Bickies for life. So if you were to go on to a podcast, your little podcast provider, and search Life Biscuits, you'd see that we had a season 1, a season 2. And those first episodes, those first sort of 13 plus an intro episode, were all about the 13 Bickies for life. The aim is to gobble those bickies up, make a big mess because we're imperfect. And yes, I am holding a comb. I don't know why. But ultimately, we want to try and just embrace those principles that are universal and kind of have stood the test of time. And please go back and have a bit of a listen to some of the stuff. Season 2, we delved into a few different little areas. And now what we kind of pseudo call season 3, but don't actually put up the seasons anymore. We're just numbering our episodes in the late 30s now, is just kind of reflecting on some of our posts and whatnot that we put up. So please check us out on social media at Life Bickies on Facebook and Instagram. Share, like, comment. We're going to start running some little competitions. Ultimately, we feel like there's so much negativity in the world, and we just want to bring some extra positivity to the fore. And so that's why we'd love to spread the word and get people kind of just consuming some of this each day. Which brings me to my next point, something I haven't actually told Lauy this yet, but Brainwave is trying to go, okay, how can we continue to bring some positivity onto people's screens, let's just say, each day? And so in addition to our daily post, where we just put up a little image with a quote or with a thought for the day, so to speak, going to be adding a little bit of video content for your weekdays. So we'll probably look at something like a Mindset Monday for you to go into the week with something to really feed your mind. A Tuesday top tip, something really simple and practical to take into the day. Some Wednesday wisdom, a bit of a throwback Thursday, possibly a Thrive Thursday. Haven't figured it out yet, you'll see when it comes. And then also a fun Friday or a fitness Friday or a family Friday, something, again, that you can go, yes, I'm going to actually go and practically apply this today in my life. And we'll make it super easy for you. And hopefully it's something you can wake up and go, bang, there it is for today. And here we are. Yeah, sorry for that little noise. A ring-a-ding-ding. Could well have been Lauy, not sure. So for tonight's episode, couple of things we want to look at is how do we embrace life by slowing it down and not letting it fly by, and how are we becoming content with our life and not just wanting all the time. So we're going to delve into a little bit. You can check out a couple of written articles on Medium if you wish, which I basically like to journal online a little bit, and so these articles come from that. And the first one I got to thinking was time. Holy cow, time freaks me out. What a weird thing, this concept that this giant sort of phenomenon that just keeps going. It is impossible to stop. It really blows my mind. And when you sit and kind of think about that, it does become quite strange to think about. So we know time flies, the days are long and the years are short. The parents out there will be very kind of familiar with that one and understand that that hits pretty close to the heart. Time waits for no man. Time is lost and never found again. A lot of people say if I had my time over, I would have done this, but unfortunately we can't get our time over, and that's why we love to cultivate a little bit of wisdom through reading other people and reflecting on life so that we can learn from mistakes and we can preempt mistakes and try and live in line with our values and not have to have time over again, so to speak. And then just realizing that you can't buy time. Like you could argue that a little bit by saying, well, I'd like to buy my time by doing this. But ultimately, time itself, you cannot buy. So a couple of ways, 9 ways to stretch time I'm going to share with you right now. So 1, sit in time and just see it passing. Sounds like a bit of a paradox, right? Like I'm saying how to slow life down and you're literally sitting there, wasting it. But that's not the point. The point is, I guess, to appreciate life by watching it go by. And we're not saying to do that 24/7, but taking time, whether it's daily or weekly, or however long you see it. You might have heard people say, I like to people watch. I like to life watch, just sit there and actually just noticing the birds flying and noticing the clouds moving and noticing that noise that you've never really heard before and just trying to tune everything out and just watch things happen and watch time tick by. I think it just helps us remain mindful of the fact that this is life and what an amazing opportunity is happening right in front of our eyes. Ring-a-ding-ding. Number 2, be part of something bigger than yourself. When we talk about the concept, being a PE teacher, we often talk about dimensions of health and this concept of spiritual health, and a lot of people shun away from it very quickly and go, well, I'm not religious, so don't talk to me about spiritual health. And I think regardless of whether you are spiritual or religious, the concept of being a part of something bigger than yourself. And so if you are religious / spiritual / have a relationship with something bigger than yourself in that realm, then it may be, really spending time in prayer or in looking into, the holy book that your religion subscribes to. But if you're not, then something even as simple as investing passionately in supporting a sporting team, I find as a great example. You can't control the outcome. You can't control what happens and the decisions that are made. You have no influence on that besides just investing some kind of energy into it and dealing with the highs and the lows that come from that. And I think, yes, that can become unhealthy, especially when we do things like betting on it and it affecting our relationships. And obviously we want to draw a line there and say, well, we don't want it to affect that, but we can have it positively affect our lives as well if we do it in a healthy way. So leaning into something a little bit beyond your control and just riding on that journey is often fun. Strengthening your connections, number 3. So ultimately knowing who is in your inner circle, who are your people. Oftentimes this is family, oftentimes it's not. And I know for me, it's definitely family, both the family I live with and my wider family. But I do a terrible job, particularly with my parents and my siblings, at really connecting with them. And I think I need to take some of my own advice here and really try and spend a bit more, not make excuses for why I'm not connecting with them more purposefully, even though they are all around the country and world. We're in such a modern society these days that we shouldn't have to do that. So apologies to my parents and my brothers and my nieces and nephews for my terrible lack of, connection. And that sounds terrible. It sounds like I'm this real terrible person, but I don't think it's as bad as I'm describing it. Anyway, number 4, find balance in your body. So, we've got this one vessel, right? And it's got to last us hopefully 100 plus years. And we want 99 or 100 plus of those years to be healthy and to be able to move and, not to be just worn out and worn down and diseased and whatnot. Now, life is obviously going to come get you. Time's going to come and get you. But if we can eat better, move better now, or regardless of where we're at, and be proactive about looking after this vessel with the vision of that, I want to be able to do these things comfortably when I'm older, then we've got to start investing now by, doing some safe lifting of weights and some good mobility exercises, whether that's yoga or Pilates. We've got to drink more water and hydrate well and eat a good range. Sorry, geez, see that coming. Quick sip of water. Then we can obviously, hopefully, have a greater health span and take that health all the way through. Now, something to point out, I think when we're finding balance in our body, often we think, a complete diet, a well-rounded diet is going to give us everything we need. And I'm not really convinced that that's the case, purely because I don't know how well-rounded diet we can eat in our modern-day hustle-bustle lives. So considering some sort of supplementation, especially around minerals and that sort of thing, I think is important. Making sure we're getting enough fiber and whatnot through real food is important as well. Number 5, listen. Hopefully this is inspiring to some degree, but listen to or read inspiring content. So again, that positivity message of Life Biscuits. What is your content diet? What are you consuming on a day-to-day basis? Because ultimately that is feeding into your subconscious, it's feeding into your conscious mind, and how we then think and then speak to ourselves and then act is often closely linked to the content that we're consuming, the relationships that we're surrounding ourselves with. So just think about going, I'm going to follow and subscribe, whether it's Life Biscuits or whether it's some other person who, regardless of how corny, and I realize some stuff can sound corny, but I think we've just got to break down those barriers and go, you know what? Is this a good thing? Yeah, cool. I'm going to just feed my mind with it a little bit more rather than focusing on the doom and gloom of the news and all of the kind of cycle that you can get into of negative content. So think about that. Follow some people who've crafted some lives of influence and positivity, and see the treasures that await in changing your mindset. Number 6, try to make someone smile every day. I think this is super easy in terms of the people you can be around if we get on that positive front foot. I do enjoy trying to make people smile. Sometimes I might be a bit aggressive about it. Sometimes just smile, show me that smile, which probably isn't necessarily the way to go, and I don't do that as too often. But I mean, smiles. I could talk about smiles all day. Anyway, it is just, it's an amazing thing, a smile. It can absolutely change someone's appearance. It can change the vibes. The ripple effect that a smile can have, I think, is huge. And there's lots of ways to do that. And I think practicing gratitude, definitely through a journal, is one way to just get those smiles naturally happening. Sometimes I'm just journaling at night, writing the things that I'm grateful for, and just like my smile, just even though it's a goofy looking fella, I can feel myself smiling as I have it. As that happens. Number 7, strive for positive emotion. So we're not denying negative emotion. We've realized that exists, all right? And again, life's up and downs are going to impact us in that way. And so what we want to do is go, yes, I feel that negative emotion. Is there anything I can shift, that negative emotion towards a more positive emotion? And if so, then being aware of being able to do that, giving out the same amount of energy, but one positive, one negative, then that's doable. And then being aware that it's not just happiness, right? Like positive emotion, there's so many different, like empathy, that's a positive emotion. Connecting with someone on a struggle, can have positive impacts for both you and the other person, as well as the usual things like humor and joy and happiness, as well as just a huge range of different positive emotions. Even just growing and having that growth mindset is positive. Finally, second last, have a momentous mindset. I've paused there for dramatic effect. I don't know if this is an actual thing. I kind of made this up. A momentous mindset. So it understands that life always happens in each moment, and it's just a collection of moments put together. And the more moments we either throw under the bus or just let go by, that is going to lead to not much in the end. But if we can just build moments in time and go, this moment was good and positive and I'm living it right here, right now, then we can go, that moment's past and now there's a new opportunity in this new moment for me to bring something and to craft my life. So be momentous by understanding the power of a moment. And then finally, and I've spoken about this before a little bit, but have a healthy respect for life and death. You're living right now. I'm living right now. To be honest, like, we might not be soon. And as horrible as that is to think about, it's a fact of life that, it is fleeting. And I've seen, even in the last week, multiple people that are close to me, in terms of they're in my, not inner circle, but in my next sort of circle out, who have had dear friends or family members who are young, and we're talking, not even middle age or maybe middle age max, succumbing to horrible accidents. And I know that's horrible to hear, but the fact is that's a fact of life. And if we don't realize that today could be the last time that this could be the last podcast that I do. So I love you all. All right, play it back. I love you. Thanks, Mom and Dad. I know you'll listen. But it could be the last time you do everything. So just try and live it like it's the last time you're going to do it. And you'll hear people say, go hug your kids tonight. And it's so true, right? Like, we can't let moments pass us by without having a healthy respect for the fact that this can be taken away from us. So that was a little thing on some nine little factors to stretch time, 9 little ways you can do that. And then my biggest daughter took down to a doctor's appointment in Brisbane, and then after it we were just sitting at Guzman y Gomez. We do love a bit of Mexican. And I took her there because she's got some nut allergies, and the ice cream there, the soft serve, is safe for her to have, which is super exciting. And we were just sitting there, and I was just struck by this moment of contentedness. So the article I wrote was called How to Live a 10 out of 10 Life, and it's because I love asking people, and students I teach, if they're listening to this, will know that I say, hey, how are you doing out of 10 today? And I love that. Just as a simple little data collection point to figure out, hey, how am I going? How are you going? And discuss some things from there. But why was I a 10 out of 10 when Josie said, what about you, Dad? And I'm like, I'm a 10, man. I'm a 10 out of 10. Now, there was things I've got, like my knee is aching big time at the moment. And I was talking just previously about moving well and all that sort of stuff, and finding balance in your body. But my knee is a real punk. My back's starting to seize up, and I could have a Ferrari, but I don't. My bro just sent a photo of his boss. Well, not his boss. His boss's cars, a Ferrari and a Porsche. And I'm like, obviously, like, it'd be cool to have a Ferrari, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, man, I don't want a $500,000 car. Like, what a waste. And I thought, but if I did have a Ferrari sitting out here outside Guzman as I eat my little churro sundae, I would be stressing, right? I'd be tripping. I'd be on edge. I'd be like, who's going to scratch my car? Who's going to steal my car? What's going on? Whereas I was just able to be content. So we don't have to have all the wants. So, I'm content with life, and therefore I'm not left wanting, even though I want things. So I still have challenge, frustration. I've got some shock and sadness in my life at times. I'm tired at the moment, just still with young kids who don't sleep all that well. Or an apparent lack of time, like we all do, to get everything done in life. Like, if you've been reading any of my stuff, you'll know that ants are going crazy around our house and continue to. There's light switches breaking, and so the house starting to slowly but surely deteriorate. We built it. It was wild. I love building. Man, it was so good. I know people don't like it, but I really love building. And so all of these things were still happening in my life, and obviously I'm still very blessed overall, but I was just like 10 out of 10. And I thought, why is that? So I came up with a few things that I think contribute to that contentedness. So number one, as I mentioned, like, you can want things. but not be left wanting and not be left short and not have to be like, well, I'm an 8 out of 10 because I don't have that Porsche, or I don't, or my dishwasher's not working properly, therefore I'm not a 10 out of 10. Like, it's okay to have some struggle and have obstacles in your way and still be like, you know what, right now in this moment that life is happening, it's okay. And I'm a 10. Enjoy the ups and downs. We spoke about that before, that life does give, it is a journey. So appreciate the fact that there will be some downs in life, and hopefully those downs are short and that you can climb back up and see the sun at the top of the mountain again, and know that will come again for you, hopefully. Life can only happen again now, and so if we're going to be content, then if we're always wanting something, we're not living in the moment now. We're always living at some point in the future. Or if we're regretting things from the past, we're living in the past and we're not right now. So of course we can't be a 10 out of 10 when we're not actually in that moment. The concept of mindfulness in action. Number 4 is working towards your potential. I think just knowing that you're progressing towards something. So being on the move, even if it's only one step or 2 steps forward, 1 step back, as long as there's some progress and that you're striving with all inside you, and all the good things, then, and I know that I'm never going to reach my potential. Like, I feel like I just want to be on the journey and that I'm resolved to keep trying to fulfill it, but I don't believe I ever will. Feel the blessing of life was number 5. Life is just such a blessing. All of the fact that we're engaging intelligent minds, intelligent beings walking around, engaging with one another and connecting and feeling these emotions inside of us, and the fact that life can do that to you is really cool, and I think gives you some contentedness. Number 6 is strive with good intention, but be aware of your impact. So we all have intentions. What sets us apart is understanding the impact that we have regardless of our intention. So you will have heard people say, well, I didn't mean to do that, it was my intention. And hopefully the wiser, more mature people go, yeah, I didn't mean it, but I'm so sorry that, it had that impact on you. And owning that regardless of your intention, I think, is super important. And then number 7 is responding to life with wonderment and awe. So similar to the blessing of life one, but this one's more external to us and just going, holy cow, like, check out this world that we're living in and its complexity and its amazingness, and the fact that everything's working in synchronicity, and the ants have all of their little, even though I hate the little dudes, their little physiology is all working together perfectly, and there's millions of those little fellas. And yet me inside, like, just to scratch my head or talk, like, the amount of processes that are happening, and the sky and the gravity and the warmth and the clouds and the wind, and everything is just happening, and it's hard not to be struck with wonder, which I think helps, similar to that watching life go by thing. Like, awesome stuff. And then finally, for me, and this isn't for everyone, but just having trust in God. For me, God, like, that just brings me hope and brings me trust to believe in God, and not having to have all the answers for everything, and trusting that God has all the answers. And the times that we think, I've proven now that God's not real, or I've proven now that God's wrong, or I've proven now that even if Israel is a jerk because he lets this happen, I trust that one day we will find out, and he will have the perfect answer for our issues with him, and we'll be like, oh yeah, okay, whoops, my bad. Perhaps I should have trusted that you were God and that I'm just a person. But that's just for me believing in God, and I realize that some people don't. So that's this episode, folks. I hope you've got some things that you can put into your life to harness time and to be content with life. And please stay tuned to some Life Bickies updates during the week, some little video stories of Monday through Friday, some little tips, just 20 to 60 seconds most likely of probably my mug, occasionally Lauy's mug, just throwing out some random points that hopefully you can take into the day. And we'd love you to share and subscribe and follow and comment, and stay tuned to any competitions, because there it is again. Obviously, I would like to spread this positivity vibe around the world and not let it take over. Also follow other people who are spreading similar messages, and you can get in touch with us by commenting on any of our stuff. We will definitely try to engage with you as much as possible. But it's been wild, and we thank you. Stay tuned for future episodes. And Lauy, wherever you are, my boy, love you, homie. Peace out.